Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Season 4 Retrospective.
I'm going to have my existential crisis right now because I don't know what I've been told. Ghost mom, ghost mom.
Sorry, I got distracted because I was making a meme.
Wait a minute. Is this the mall? Don't tell me, but also tell me, but don't tell me. What's bigger, the universe or my anxiety?
Those words don't go together.
He died doing what he loved, being poisoned.
Oh, woman shouldn't come.
Oh, God, I remember nothing except what happened. What the fuck did I write?
It's to use the science, to science the science.
Don't kill the part of you that's cringe, kill the part of you that cringes.
Okay, excuse me. I need to go walk into traffic.
I never know how to start off the retrospectives. But yeah, welcome to the recap. We'll be starting this off with Dory's graduation ceremony.
Oh boy.
Which is basically just announcing Dory's new title because she's officially graduated from being a Star Trek novice.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So, your new title, Dory, is Rookie Trekkie, which I just thought was really cute.
I sound like if a Digimon was into Star Trek.
Yeah.
Oh god.
It's the dream. A crossover I would love to see.
Mm-hmm.
Digimon.
Incredible.
Thank you.
The best. Okay, that theme song slaps so unnecessarily hard, though.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
Holy fuck.
It's almost as good as the TNG theme, which it's not.
Mm-hmm. You know which, cartoon theme song I think slaps the hardest? Is the X-Men theme song.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's
I've got to give you that one.
I feel like the theme songs from the 90s just kind of hit different.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they were all
90s,
trying to be
early 2000s.
They were all trying to be extreme and rocky, and it worked, but
Yeah. I mean, the Mummy's Alive theme is great.
Oh,
Yes.
shit. Yeah, Mummy's Alive.
The theme for that show is far better than it deserved to be, considering how
Then the show.
worthless the show is.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, also, we'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Pokemon theme song. That slaps like no other.
Yeah, it does. So, that's a great way to start our Star Trek.
Dory, fun fact about the Star Trek theme, actually, when if we end up getting to the movies, if you end up wanting to start at the first one, you will hear the first iteration of the TNG theme because that's what they took it from.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Party.
It sounds much more, what's the word for it? It sounds more orchestral simply because there's a larger orchestra for it. Has kind of an epic tone to it. But they did a good job for adapting it to television.
I love an orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
So I guess we should just start off with your general thoughts about season 4 compared to season 1 through 3.
Honestly, God, I don't even know. I mean, I definitely think there was more bangers this season. Mm-hmm. But okay, when I was putting together my categories and my notes for this episode, I came across episodes I did not remember watching. I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, when did this happen? I have no memory of it, and yet I watched this episode of television. I watched these 45 minutes of television. I was like, when did this happen?
Yeah, I think the quality went up, but that doesn't mean necessarily all of them were memorable.
Yeah, there's been some good shit, but there's also been some super, not memorable stuff. Mm-hmm. I think we've been seeing things that are maybe, less bad, but, more, we'll call it neutral.
Yeah, less bad, but also less interesting.
Yeah, things that I've been, more, indifferent about. I mean, there's still been some bad shit in there, but I think there's definitely more stuff, and I guess I'm also so much more invested in the characters at this point. Mm-hmm. And
That's
I just want them to be happy, except for O'Brien.
Yeah.
No kidding.
But are you?
Listen, that's for me to know and everybody else to assume.
at
I
this
just want
point,
people
like,
to be happy.
yeah, yeah, you have a couple predictions that are just like, I just want things to be nice.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is like, I'm a contradiction with what I like on shows. It's like, yes, okay, I love the drama. I want some shit to go down. I love the hot goss. However, I just want people to have a nice time also. I think it's like just like I want everybody to have like a happy ending. I just want people to be happy because I
Yeah.
can't relate. I'm joking. I'm kidding.
That's fair enough.
I don't know. I just want nice stuff to happen to people I like.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping there's more nice stuff ahead. I also, you know what I love? I mean, I don't know if you guys are going to, I assume you'll ask it about like what I want for the next season, but maybe I'll just do that now. I would like some more lighthearted episodes. I want some funny shit, but I want some accidental funny shit. Like, I don't want like the stuff where they're trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Star Trek generally fails when it's trying to be funny.
Yeah, I find it's a lot more funny when it's by accident. I'd like some goofy shit.
Okay, so I'm going to lay this out there. You're not going to get too much of that in this upcoming season.
But I could get it in a later season?
Yeah, I won't be any more specific than that. Just there are some fairly ridiculous premises coming up within TNG, ones that almost like fit that 1990s kind of feel of like, well, we got to do this concept now because we haven't done it. And it's for better or worse. It really depends on which one we're thinking of. I would say that the majority of the next season is fairly serious in its storytelling. To not to TNG's detriment though.
Okay.
Season 5 is generally considered like the peak of TNG, where things were like at their highest in terms of quality. I won't be any more specific than that because in every season there are bad episodes. Every single season of Star Trek has bad episodes.
But there are quite a few great episodes in season 5.
There are some real bangers coming up.
Yeah.
But
I'm
you know what? There'll also be some stuff that I think you will really enjoy, even when it is serious. There's what do you call it? There's some good Data stuff in the next season. There's some good Worf stuff in the next season. There's a real good Picard one in the next season that is a very unique premise, and I won't really do any more than that. We get to meet some famous Star Trek characters. We get to meet some new characters.
I love meeting new characters.
Yep. There's an O'Brien episode.
Ugh.
Oh, there's also one or two famous actors/actresses who show up in the next season that you will definitely recognize. So,
ooh, I'm excited. I love recognizing people.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what I just thought about that I would really like to see the most in the next season? I want more stuff within the team. Like I know we're gonna get external people coming in, like a Troy and someone, or like Picard and someone. I'd love more like team ups. Like there was like a bunch of good like team ups and scenes within like the main cast this past season that I'm like, I would love for them. Like, I will mention this in one of my categories, but like Data and Dr. C dancing, they were like unexpectedly such a fun duo.
there are
and like
you want to see more like combos of characters.
Yeah,
You will
like, and I
definitely
also
see
really
that.
liked the very brief time Troy wanted the hot goss from Geordi. They had a really fun dynamic, and I want more. I want more stuff within the team. Like more scenes of them like doing shit together. It doesn't even need to be like character development-y. I just want like more stuff, like the team interacting with each other.
You will definitely
I just find
get
that.
I
Yes!
promise you that.
Yes, fist
There's
pump
one that
to
I
the
won't.
sky.
There's one that I won't ruin for you, but there's a particular one in next season that I think you will really enjoy between Data and Picard. But I can't tell you any more than that. It is such a hilarious concept, and the two of them work really well in the scene together.
Nice. Well, I'm looking forward to this mysterious episode.
Good.
And in next season is, I think it's my favorite episode of the series.
Ooh.
Yeah. I really like it, and it's a very sweet episode, in my opinion.
Aw.
Yeah.
I like a sweet episode.
Yeah.
Pull on my heartstrings, Star Trek.
Oh, they will. Season 4 has a very interesting place in the series. It's kind of like, it's like the awkward middle child, you know? Season
Yes.
1 is just a fucking disaster. Season
Yep.
2 is a disaster, but you're kind of starting to see where the good ideas are. Season 3 is immediate jump in quality.
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
that's the first oh, I see why this show is the way it is.
The thing is that season 4 is just more of a refinement of that than it is about being standout.
Yeah. And then, as you said, season 5's kind of considered the peak. And then season 4 is you're starting to get there's some good shit in season 6. There's some really good shit in season 6. But you're kind of starting to see little glimpses of okay, I think they're maybe starting to run out of ideas.
Yeah. And then by the 7th season, while the 7th season is still pretty good, it's not as strong. There are some standout episodes, and then there are some non-standout episodes at all. I'd say out of all of the good seasons of TNG, 7 has the most worthless episodes that are
Yeah.
it's fine, and that's it. You just
Yeah.
don't think about it anymore after that. And
Well, way to psych me up.
But they cap it off with what I consider one of the best season finales of any Star Trek.
yeah.
Or series finale.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even say one of Trek is not good at series finales.
Yeah.
With one exception.
Yeah.
I think all of the other ones leave so much to be desired, and TNG's won't. But that doesn't matter, because then there's 4 TNG movies after that leave so much to be desired. Ugh.
Party.
Yeah.
But I won't. I'm gonna refrain from giving you any details on purpose, because
Yes, I like to be surprised.
yeah, you're gonna forget everything that we say about the series finale by the time that we get there, because it will be so long down
I'm going
the
to
road.
forget everything you've said about it by the end of this recording.
Hey, there
Yeah.
we go then. We've really set ourselves up well.
We've established I have a terrible memory.
This season was also a journey for us, because I think this is the longest we've ever taken to recording a season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did take a couple of breaks in the middle there. We're in terms of editing, we're kind of going week by week, paycheck to paycheck with it a little bit.
We used to be ahead, but not so much anymore.
Yeah,
And that's
we
just,
should
a
probably
lot.
catch up more.
Yeah, there's just a lot of factors to that. There's we started this during the pandemic, so we had all the free time in the world.
Yes.
You know?
We could just say it. It's because I work a 9 to 5 Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
We used to
much.
record during the week in the middle, in the daytime, but some of us work a corporate job now.
Yeah. Well, it's
So
no,
now
because
we do
it's
evenings and weekends.
it's a combination of Dory works a 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, and I work a job that's primarily weekends.
Yep.
That works
What
a
an
lot
awesome
of weekends.
schedule.
Yeah. And we discovered that we just can't do as many episodes in a row as we used to do, just because
yeah.
we run out of steam much faster.
And we've aged.
Yeah.
we're old now. It's really hard to
Yeah.
to do 3 episodes in a day. It takes a lot out of you.
Yeah.
We only have so much Star Trek to give.
Mm-hmm.
It also takes literally the entire day. It's like a 9-hour day.
Yeah.
So or like yeah, basically, yeah, because we'd start at noon and then go to like almost 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fucking long day.
Because like we watch an episode prior to us meeting, and then we'd record that episode and then take a break so that we could watch the next episode and then record that one and then take another break to watch and record the next one. Mm-hmm. Because if we watched too many episodes ahead of like actually recording the podcast episode, everything would just get too jumbled up.
I wouldn't be able to do my predictions. I would know stuff that was coming. So like we do one by one, so I don't get anything spoiled for me. But.
Yeah, just by the function of like how we have to, or how the podcast is set up, we just kind of have to do it that way.
That all being said, should we start the categories?
Yeah, let's
of
start.
The best, worst, and in between of season 4.
What's the best of the worst?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right, so I've got some of our classic categories, but I also threw in a couple of new ones. Mm-hmm. Let's start off with, you know what? Let's do the honorable mentions first, because then people will then have peace of mind to know to not expect these to be in the regular categories.
Sure.
So I'm letting everybody down easy. So honorable mentions. Okay, number 1. Oh, by the way, honorable mentions just basically is like, I didn't know where to put them in the categories, but they're worth noting. Number 1, Leah Brahms finding out about Geordie's holodeck program in Galaxy's Child. That was fucked.
Yeah. I also, like, because I was writing down the predictions, like, just before us recording this, your prediction was, like, so, like, hopeful and desperate.
I want to think of the best. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. Hopeful and desperate. That's on my business cards. Okay, number 2. The bodies sitting up with Dr. C and Night Terrors. That was fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
She's just in the room, all the dead bodies, and then all of a sudden they all sat up. Ugh.
That was a great moment.
Oh, yeah.
Or horrible, depending on how you feel about that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's why they're in the honorable mention.
Yeah.
And then, okay, number 3. Geordie recreating the scene in the holodeck of, like, when he was trying to figure out what happened with, like, an identity crisis, and then he sees the blob shadow. I was like, cool, so that's gonna haunt my nightmares now. It was so creepy. Which then brings to the next one, was the lizard makeup in Identity Crisis. In certain lights was pretty great and looked terrifying, and in certain lights looked like shit. But I want to give the credit for the lizard makeup in the dark.
Yeah.
That looked fucking cool. Okay, next one. This just made me laugh. I like that we learned that Picard has violated the Prime Directive 9 times in the drumhead.
And that's only by the 4th season.
Yeah. Also, honorable mention, Nora Sati losing it when Picard mentions her dad in the drumhead. That was an incredible scene. We will hear more from Nora later on in the episode. Next is the the letter that Wes sent Dr. C letting us know that he's topping his class.
Oh, yeah.
In the host.
And then I think he had, what was it? He was still struggling with one subject, I think.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, Wes. Okay, then next is Geordie playing trivia with himself in the mind's eye when, like, the Romulan ship is right behind him and he's like, I'm gonna play this game. Like, amazing.
Yeah.
Next is Guinan destroying Worf at target practice in Redemption Part 1.
Yeah.
Oh, that was pretty great, yeah.
That was great. Fun times. And then this is just like, welcome back to Kern in Redemption Part 1. It's been a minute. Nice to see you again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's my honorable mentions. All right, now for the actual categories. Okay, we're going to start off with favorite character we only see in one episode. So far, that I know of. Okay. In actual, sort of. Oh boy. My logic doesn't make sense. Anyways, number 1, Worf's parents. Love them. They're my favorites. They're the best. I don't know if do we see them again?
I mean, you'll find
do you
out.
want us to spoil it for you? Or
Okay. No, don't tell me.
Okay, then we won't.
So as of right now, we've only seen them in 1 episode. So Worf's parents. Number 2, Jack Crusher and family. The hologram of him. The absolute smoke show that is Jack Crusher. Next is Marasta. She was the engineer in First Contact who was like, oh, that's cool that you guys are like there and have warp stuff, and I'd like to leave with you guys. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I hope she like gets to do stuff. And then you guys told me we never hear from her again. But it was nice to see her and meet her, I guess.
I think sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to list my next person. Or did you have something about Marasta?
No, I was going to say a person, but if you have more, then keep going.
Go ahead.
Oh,
maybe they're on my list.
I was just going to say Admiral Satie.
Oh, yeah,
or,
she's
no,
on
is
the
she
list.
an admiral? Oh, Ambassador. What was her title?
I don't remember her title. I have it written in my notes in my notebook, but I typed up these notes on my computer.
But yeah, the lady from the Drumhead.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind. She is an admiral.
Okay.
She's on my list. She's number 6.
It. Rear Admiral Nora Satie.
Yeah, she was incredible. A++, an amazing guest star. If Dr. Leah Brahms in real life. She was real fun. Next is Suze in Identity Crisis, who's Geordi's like past captain, who is like part of the group. She turns into a lizard person and then goes back. Her and Geordi are really fun. I really liked Suze. Yeah. Suze was a good time. So then Nora, and then someone who made a huge impression on me, Admiral Thomas Henry in the Drumhead, who is the guy who had no lines, and he gets up and leaves, and they make a whole thing about it, and I loved it. This man says nothing. This man is in one scene, and I loved it. Yeah. His just appearance, it just speaks for him. Incredible. This is Admiral Thomas Henry is the oh God, what's his name? Dick Miller from season 1. This is my season. He's my season 4 Dick Miller, which sounds like a euphemism for something unfortunate. Good times. Okay,
I had another one. Which I think the kid from Future Imperfect, Riker's son.
Oh, jeez.
I thought he did a good job.
The little gray alien.
Not the gray alien. The actual, like...
Jean-Luc? Ethan? Or alien?
Yeah, it's
no,
true.
not the alien. The actual...
No, I know.
The human
the child.
form.
So Jean-Luc / Ethan.
Yeah. Okay, not character. Rather, I thought the actor did a really good job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, no, he was great. He was real fun. Yeah. Jeff, do you have any
standout characters?
Well, single characters that we've seen this season?
Yeah. I do not for the life of me remember his name right now. Kroll, maybe, from the First Contact episode. The angry conservative.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
I like him because like he is so identifiable. Like I have seen so many people like that in my life.
Oh.
Yeah. I also spend a lot of my time arguing with conservatives on the internet. So there's that. But that is besides the point. We will not get into that. Yes. Fucking him.
Wild.
The man from Half a Life who has to die at 60. Genuinely, like for an episode that is just about a one-off character, he's a very, I connect with him quite well. I think he's like adorkably awkward at times. And I really enjoyed that about him.
Tim.
Yes,
that's
Tim.
what
There
I
we
called
go.
him.
Every time that you see him on screen, he's just very likable. He's he's got like a bit of a charm to him, and that he's like very serious, but it's very easy to break through that and make him smile and like almost giggle a couple of times. It was very nice. Too bad the episode took a hard left turn in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Next category is favorite costumes. We actually have a bunch, but I'll go through them quickly. Number 1. That guy Jared, his color block leopard print outfit in Devil's Due, that's the one where what's her face? They have like the fake god who pulls those like stupid tricks. I'd completely forgotten about this episode.
Yeah.
The amount of episodes I did not remember until reading my notes, and I just saw and I was like, I saw my note and it was like Jared's outfit, and I was like, what the fuck was Jared wearing? I'm like, oh yeah, that outfit was pretty sweet. Next, Dr. C's off the shoulder blue sweater in the nth degree.
Oh yeah.
That
she
was
looked
great.
gorgeous
I
in
love that. Oh yeah, love it. A++. Next is everybody's Robin Hood looks.
Yeah.
In Cupid, loved it. Good times. Big fan. Everybody looked incredible. Next is Q's safari look in Cupid. I also appreciated that. Everything that looks on a Troy wore in the episode. Oh God, I didn't write down the title of the episode, but that episode.
Half a Life.
Half a Life, yes. Everything she wears is amazing. And lastly is Riker in the blue outfit in The Host. It's a good look for him. I just get him in more blue, but like royal blue.
Yeah.
Don't get him in light blue. Get him in royal blue or navy. Yes.
Pretty sure you get him in like gray blue at one point.
Ooh, that was the color of my parents' van growing up.
You're not going to love why he's wearing it, but I won't get into that for a while.
Do you guys have any favorite costumes from this season?
None that you haven't already listed. I thought Admiral Satie's looks were pretty nice.
Oh yeah, she had a cloak, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, also one of her assistants, she had an outfit that would fit in right now with like the trends, because she had the little space buns and had like a matching top and bottom.
She just looked straight up Gen Z.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh, you know what? I was just kind of scrolling through. I like Picard's casual look in Family in the second episode when he's in France.
Oh,
when he arrives, he has that like sort of like loose like gray wrap shirt with like the deep V and like the brown pants.
Picard loves a wrap shirt.
Yeah, he loves a deep V.
He loves a deep V. Listen, and I love him in a deep V, so it
Listen,
all works out.
The sluttiest thing a man can do is have an extra button open on his shirt. And Picard just takes it like way further.
Yep, I will not argue with that. I will not argue with that at all.
I'm going to have to vouch for Picard assimilated by the Borg and those plastic abs across his chest.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Those are great. That was very cool.
But also Gray Alien from the end of Future Imperfect, because I'm sorry, how can you dress better than that? That kid was straight out of like a knockoff X-Files episode. That kid should have been in Sci Factor.
God.
Or what's the reboot Outer Limits from the 90s. That one had some low budgeting at times, and
I said this like during the episode when we recorded it, but like props to Jonathan Frakes for keeping a straight face in that scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it's just the most ridiculous costume ever. And he has to take it dead serious.
Yep. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Good
Beautiful.
times.
Beautiful. Also, the fact that we finally got to see, because I mean it's been a while, but we got to see some real cool Klingon designs with their outfits. Because I mean we got introduced to the Klingon cleavage, as I mentioned.
yeah.
These may be the first like female Klingons that have been on screen since TOS. I'm not positive on that.
Oh no,
like
we've seen them. We've seen the cleavage.
Oh
before.
right, no, there were a
in
couple
an
with
earlier
that
things,
episode with
yeah.
Riker.
Oh yeah,
I forgot
Kalar
about
is
that.
in this season. Whoa.
I was gonna say Kalar is a bit of an exception.
What were her looks in this season?
Honestly, I've blocked out so much of that episode.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It makes me very sad. I think Kalar is a previous winner of favorite single episode characters, but
yes.
Yeah, I don't know if this season disqualified her from that.
That's fair.
Because she did come back.
Because it's like up until that point, right?
Yeah. Oh, she's amazing.
Oh yeah, she has in that episode. She has this like sort of like purple bodysuit thing, and like
I would expect nothing less.
It comes down into like sort of a almost corsety looking deal.
I did write in my notes that her hair looks incredible. I don't remember what it looks like because I blocked it out, but in my notes I wrote that her hair looked amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, guys, we forgot about the most important thing. Q in a safari outfit.
I said that.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you?
Yeah,
I guess
that
I
was
didn't
number
hear it.
4.
Well, my bad.
Yeah, that was, Q in the safari outfit. Yep.
My first thought when I saw him like that, because like it's such a typical safari outfit, is thinking of Dark Helmet and Spaceballs when they go to the sand planet.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think John Delancey looks really cute in it. He has nice legs.
I did not pay attention to his legs. Okay, next category. This is a short one. Times the AV Club could have stepped in and helped out.
I think a lot of times.
I only remembered 3, but I'm sure there's more. It's only like this season. Okay, number 1. Checking the security cameras for Dr. Dalen when the computer said he wasn't on board in Remember Me.
Yeah.
When, like, everything in that episode would have been helpful if they just looked at the security cameras. And same with the...
It would have added to the mystery, too, because the security cameras would have shown, like, him not being there.
Yeah.
Because of... because in that episode, it turned out that she was in, like, an alternate reality, so...
Yeah. Next is, in Future Imperfect, the fact that, like, they're recording home videos. What the fuck, AV Club? Mm-hmm. In their space. That would have helped Riker earlier, but, you know, whatever. And lastly, in The Mind's Eye, if they fucking stepped in with the footage of Geordi sending the weapons when he was being, like, brainwashed, that would have solved a lot of things earlier. Mm-hmm. So thanks, AV Club, for fucking nothing. God, we rely on you and you do nothing. Okay, so now we'll do favorite episode, and then after we'll do lines and moments. Mm-hmm. But we'll go with favorite episodes of the season. So I have Family, where everybody, Worf's parents, and
even despite Robert.
Picard goes, even despite Robert. I really like Worf's parents. Won me over. And to be fair, Picard's sister-in-law was nice.
Yes.
She was nice. I liked her. Mm-hmm. Picard's dumbass nephew, though. I just remember in the episode, he looks in the opposite direction of, like, the shooting star or whatever, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, bro?
Well, you can't blame him. He didn't know there was gonna be a shooting star.
I can blame him, and I will. And I am. Next is Cupid. It was just a really fun episode. Also, it brought back Vosh, who I really liked. She was fun in this episode. And lastly, the drumhead with Nora, and that was for the listeners, that's the episode where that guy Simon Tarses.
That's his name.
Yeah, Simon
He's
Tarses.
basically on trial because there was a Klingon who was stealing secrets or whatever to send to the Romulans, I think. And then Nora was there and her Betazoid was like, there's another person. And then Simon said that he was part Vulcan, but in fact he's part Romulan. And so there's like a kind of hearing / trial, and it goes real fucking wild. But yeah, Picard takes the stand, and doesn't stand. He gets roasted, but listen, he roasts right back to Nora. It's a great episode.
Yeah, I think that's definitely my favorite of the series or the season. It's like one of the standout episodes of the series as a whole. It's like just I think objectively the best episode in the season. But I have a couple other favorites.
Yeah.
I really like Remember Me which is the one where Dr. Crusher gets caught up in that sort of alternate reality that she doesn't realize is an alternate reality right away.
And people keep disappearing.
Yeah. I really liked Night Terrors because I'm a horror bitch and it's got a lot of great like horror elements to it. And honestly, the season finale, Redemption Part 1. Oh yeah, which Reunion also is a favorite of mine because I really like the sort of Klingon plot throughout the series. I like I like that whole arc of like just the politics and stuff of the Klingons. So yeah,
I have to block Reunion out of my mind.
Yeah.
I can't.
That's fair.
Reunion's so sad.
Because for anyone that doesn't remember, that's Kalar dies in that episode.
And I cried in our episode.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Jeff, what were your favorites of the season?
So I mean, okay, I would just end up repeating much of what you guys said. But my standout ones personally, I forgot how much I liked Reunion the first time around because I haven't watched it in so long. But I also really enjoy Remember Me so fucking much.
Yeah.
That is like possibly one of the best Beverly Crusher episodes in the series. And I thought it did a really good job of reminding me why, because fuck, that's a strong episode. But then I was brought back to ones that I used to like more when I was younger, like Future Imperfect, which I had to downgrade. And I had to downgrade, where is it? The Mind's Eye as well. That was the Geordie hypnotized one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that one was better when I was younger, but no, it's kind of worthless.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's not great.
Yeah.
It could have been great, maybe, but it's very it's fine.
Yeah, there's
That's
a lot
it.
of potential there.
Yeah, so I downgraded it to a can watch in my must watch list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, after we finish the episode.
Yeah, because
I still love watching. Like... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, it hints at more like Klingon Romulan stuff, but you don't really need to watch it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I generally really like Romulan stuff, but I forgot how cheesy the Romulan stuff in TNG really is. Mm-hmm. Like, they didn't really know what they were going to do with them yet. And they do get to that point much later on. There's still some banger Romulan episodes in TNG, but they're just an occasional baddie. They're not like the villain of the show.
Yeah.
And I think they only show up as often as maybe they show up less often than the Klingons do, and probably about slightly more often than the Borg.
Yeah.
Because the Borg don't show up too much. But yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of my connection to TNG comes from growing up with it, and because of that, it's difficult for me, or was difficult for me before, to separate what was good from what was bad based on just sitting down and experiencing it again. Mm-hmm. Because even some of the real bad ones in season 4, I had no problem taking in. And I'm connected to them in a way that Dory isn't, obviously, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. It's just from growing up with it, so it's very different. I think
the nostalgia.
if we end up going into DS9 after this, There's going to be a rude awakening for a couple of episodes for me there.
Oh, probably.
As we go through it. But we will find out once we get that far. I'm expecting much more of that throughout TNG. As I mentioned, Future Imperfect is maybe the strongest example of an episode that I thought was better than it is until I sat down and watched it again. A friend of mine actually mentioned to me a year or two ago that he was excited for us to get to that one because he also didn't think it was that great upon watching it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here's the thing is, like, there's a lot of stuff I like in Future Imperfect.
Yep.
There's a lot of good stuff. Obviously, the ending is so fucking stupid.
Yes, and it takes away a lot from it.
Yeah, the ending takes away a lot from the episode. But I do really like sort of this future they've created and sort of the scenarios and stuff. However, okay, and before I say that, and I really like the relationship that Riker has with his not son.
Do you also like shut up, as in close your mouth and stop talking?
Yeah. No, you can't. Don't even try. No, see, one of the biggest things that like takes away enjoyment of that episode is the fact that they're trying to make a man who has a decade's worth of amnesia do an important negotiation.
Yes.
Like, I know it's fake, but like that still frustrates me so much.
Yeah.
And I know it's supposed to be a big clue to tell you that like something's wrong, but it's still just so frustrating in a real way to be like, seriously, you're gonna make a man who does not remember the last 10 years of his life? I think it's like 14. Like, you're telling me like you're gonna make a man who does not remember the last decade to like negotiate this super important like peace treaty?
I think in my defense, I generally enjoy TNG's fish out of water kind of episodes.
Oh yeah.
That might have a lot to do with the fact that they are usually centered around a character who is someone that I really like to see in that kind of position. I mean, there's episodes that do that I don't love. I know there's a couple in DS9 that I don't love. I think there's like there's a Bashir one where he's like living as an old person in his head because he's infected by something. And that one I don't love, for instance. Even though that's not too different of a concept from this one. But within TNG, it's something that I generally quite enjoy. We usually see it with Data more often than anyone else. And maybe that's why I connect to it so much in TNG. And I mean, I also really like Riker. So there's that. It's a Riker episode.
Yeah.
We don't get too many of those at this point. I'm not really sure why. There are some great ones coming up. But up until this point, I don't think we've had any like real standout Riker episodes.
Yeah. Also, tiny shout out for the fact that the cast ages incredibly well.
Yeah.
In Future Imperfect. Yeah, everyone still looks hot.
Yeah. They did some incredible like aging work in that episode, which is a big deal for Star Trek.
Which is great because when you look at all of those actors 13 years later, they still looked fucking great.
Yeah. Except for, like, Riker's hair is, like, really unrealistic, but it looks good on him, I think.
I mean, that's going to happen more times in TNG where we'll see them aged for whatever reason, and it's going to look weird.
Yeah, it's really hard to do good gray hair, like, without actually fucking up the actor's hair, so...
Yes.
You mean they don't put baby powder in their hair like my mom did for me for Halloween one year when I was a child and wanted to be an old lady?
I love that at one point Q does like an old man Q thing as like a... like I won't get into it, but that happens later on, and so they have to do old age makeup on him, and it looks absolutely god-awful on him. And then we got season 2 of the Picard show, and John Delancey looks like fucking a hot dad.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, great.
Oh, yeah, we talked
Sorry, not
about
a hot
this
dad, a hot
pictures.
like, older dad.
Yeah.
No, he looks good. I remember
Yeah.
the pictures. I was like, oh, damn.
Oh, I'm sorry, because I have Netflix open in another tab, and I'm just like, I'm just kind of scrolling through Future Imperfect, And I forgot that Future Imperfect has one of the worst green screen effects of, like, the entire series,
Oh,
I think.
yes. That one is pretty bad. I mean, in
Which
their
is it?
defense, there was a lot of, like, set building and stuff like that they had to do with that.
Yeah.
Like, there's two main sets that I can think of. Sorry, three main sets that I can think of that they had to put together. And then all of the changes they had to do, the redressing to the main sets to make the ship look like it was newer and whatnot.
Dory, it's when it's finally revealed that, like, the whole thing is fake and the Romulans come out. And it's like the guy, like, looks like he's on a green screen, and then it cuts to Riker in, like, this room that is just obviously green screen, and it just looks so bad.
Oh,
Yeah, the
okay.
color
I
is
think
badly matched.
I think I vaguely remember this.
Yeah. All right, sorry. Next category.
Okay, so we'll do favorite lines and then favorite moments after. So favorite lines, okay. So this is from Best of Both Worlds, Part 2. Riker says, I'm sure Captain Picard would have something meaningful and inspirational to say right now. To tell you the truth, I wish he was here because I'd like to hear it too. I liked that. There's another episode in that another line in that. I don't remember it like word for word, but I think it was like Guinan's talking to Riker, and she's like, oh, you have to like let him go or whatever. And Riker's like, oh, I don't know if you heard, I tried to kill him yesterday or something.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, and so now this is in Suddenly Human, which I had completely forgotten about this episode.
It's very
It's with
forgettable.
that dumbass kid Jono.
Yeah.
So Troy goes, strange, isn't it? You'll travel light years, dodge asteroid storms, brave hostile aliens, and yet when asked to assume a parental role, you cringe. Why do you suppose that is? And then Picard goes, I'm not cringing, I'm just acknowledging my limitations.
Yeah.
This is about taking like Jono. Jono then goes and like shares a room with Picard. It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jono sucks. And then, okay, I like this. So then Riker, this is in, oh, I didn't write down, I don't remember what episode this is. I didn't write it down. I think it's the one where Troy doesn't have her abilities.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so
the
Riker
loss.
is hugging Troy, and Troy goes, is this how you handle all your personnel problems? And then Riker goes, sure, you'd be surprised how far a hug goes with Geordi or Worf.
Yeah.
And I think I said in the episode, I would like a hug, please, Riker.
Yeah, because Riker
looks like a
looks like
nice
he
hug.
gives good hugs.
Yeah. It's like a bear hug style.
Yeah. I think my favorite line of the season is in the Cupid episode in the Robin Hood bit, where
I
Worf's,
think I know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where Worf's
I think
like,
I have it on my list.
I must protest. I am not a merry man.
Yes. Yeah, I got that. It's so good.
I know.
Actually, a bunch of the, like, my favorite quotes are from Cupid.
Yeah. And actually in Future Imperfect, when Riker's like figured out that this is all fake, and I forget who it is, it's like, I can explain, and he's like, no, you can't, don't even try.
Yes.
Which leads into the really great like he tells Picard to shut up or something.
Yeah. Okay, so then also in Cupid, Q goes, Jean-Luc, it's wonderful to see you again. How about a big hug? Well, don't just stand there, say something. And then Picard goes, get out of my chair. And then also in Cupid, Q goes, is Vash's life worth more than Data's or Troy's or Worf's? You know, Worf, you'd make a perfect throw rug in Nottingham Castle. Poor Worf. Then in Half a Life, Luxana goes, what does the little one do, Mr. Wolf? And then Worf goes, please, madam, that is a torpedo launch initiator. And it is Worf, madam, not Woof. And then the last two are from In Theory. One is Data goes, honey, I'm home. And then Data, when he's talking to, I don't remember her name, Jenna. Mm-hmm. Data goes, darling, you remain as aesthetically pleasing as the first day we met.
Yeah.
I believe I'm the most fortunate sentient in this sector of the galaxy.
Oh, that's
I liked
great.
that a lot. There's a lot of good lines in theory
Yeah.
with Data. Oh, there's also like, "You're not my mother" or something like that.
I love in Reunion when Gowron they're in the meeting room and he's like, "You will die slowly, Duras," which is where that comes from. Where Duras comes from.
Duras.
So I can't really quote it, but every time Gowron's eyes do the Gowron's eyes thing,
The bulge.
that is the best quote in this season, right there.
I think that would count at our favorite moments. Would be
Okay, fair
Gowron
enough.
eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
I have to go with the one that I still quote to this day, actually. This one was from Data's Day, which is, "I could be chasing an untamed ornithoid without cause."
Oh, yeah. And doesn't Dr. C say, like, "Oh, like a wild goose chase"?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the point.
I was
That's
like, is
the
that
point.
not what I
She's-
said?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that one's really good. But it's really hard to pick one out because in the Drumhead there are some ones that like really stand out.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them are like they're part of much larger quotes.
Yeah. That's why I didn't really include any of them, because they were just like freaking monologues.
They are. That episode is full of them. I will give the oh geez, what is it? The road from legitimate suspicion to rampant paranoia is very much shorter than we think. That one I really like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There isn't much more to that particular quote, so
Yeah.
that one I'd say is a standout one for me.
I was gonna say Picard's like whole speech when he's testifying is like, I was gonna list that as a favorite moment, like just that whole thing.
Yeah. It's really good. That being said, should we move on to favorite moments?
Yeah.
All right, I got a lot. There was a lot of good, like, small things in this
Yeah.
that really warmed my heart. Number one, this... always have to shout it out. Saucer separation to distract the Borg and Best of Both Worlds Part 2.
Yeah.
Listen, if there's a saucer separation, it's gonna be a favorite moment.
Yeah.
Next is, like, Worf's parents telling him that they're proud of him and family.
Aw.
That's so cute. Dr. C arguing with the computer in Remembering Me when she's like asking, like, oh, does she have, like, talking about herself, does she have the necessary, does Dr. C have the necessary skills to achieve the Enterprise mission to explore the galaxy? And the computer's like, no. She's like, okay, so, like, fucking burn. What am I doing here? What is happening? Yeah, Dr. C arguing with the computer I really loved. Next is Future Imperfect, Riker's birthday party. It's like at the very beginning of the episode. Riker plays, and the Netflix caption said playing Misty poorly.
Oh, yeah.
With playing the trombone, which I really liked. And then they bring up the cake, and Troy's like, so what did you wish for, Will? And then, like, he doesn't answer, and, like, the way that, like, she hits him in the arm kind of seems like it wasn't planned. It just feels like a very, like, improv thing. Like, she was waiting for him to do his line and he didn't do it.
Oh, yeah.
And then the way that he then delivers, he goes, music lessons. Like, I just loved that. Like, it didn't seem on purpose, and it just felt really natural and very funny to me. Then Dr. C teaching Data to dance in Data's Day. It's a lot of D's in that sentence.
Yeah.
We get to meet Spot in Data's Day, and we get to see him later a couple more times, but we love Spot. He's so cute. Next, also in Data's Day, when Data and Worf go shopping last minute for wedding presents in the mall.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Vindication for the mall. And they're looking at glassware.
Yeah.
That's really funny. I loved it when Guinan briefly joins Picard in the Dixon Hill holodeck thing with in Clues. That was fun. It was brief, but a good time. Guinan gets to wear an incredible outfit. Next, also in Clues, The fact Jordy mentions twice. And therefore he's just like obsessed with the fact that they did grow beards in Clues. He says it twice, and I just
Why did
like,
our beards grow?
I love it. Yeah, I was like, Jordy, what? But I liked it. Okay, and now I've got a chunk of Cupid ones. First is when Vosh is talking to Picard, and then Dr. C comes to the door, and Picard's like, "Oh fuck!" But Vosh and like Dr. C hit it off immediately, and it makes him feel awkward, and I loved it. Next, in the Robin Hood stuff, Geordi's playing the mandolin, and then Worf takes and smashes it against the tree, and then goes, "Sorry." And then also in Cupid, the bridge crew hiding in very plain sight in like those red robes.
Oh yeah.
Picard and Vosh are going to be executed, and then they fight. And by fight, I mean the guys do shit, and then like Dr. C knocks out a guy, and then Troy reluctantly knocks out a guy.
Despite the fact that the two of them are the only ones with actual sword training.
Yeah,
like the
was
actresses. Yeah,
hilarious. And then I did love that Vosh and Q, their team up at the end, because that would have been a great spin-off. I would have watched that. Next is Admiral Thomas Henry walks out of the room in the drum head. It's so good. This will okay, so Geordi walking down the hallway, like that shot in, I think it's The Mind's Eye, where like there was that really good shot that was in the middle of him walking down the hall. That was really great. I obviously have to mention in the simulation with the Romulans when Geordi shoots O'Brien.
Oh yeah.
But not for that. It's the same reason why I liked it when we did the episode. It's because he shoots O'Brien. O'Brien falls over, and then Geordi, instead of taking the chair in front of him, goes around, knocks O'Brien's body off the chair, and then sits in his chair. Like, why would you do that? Yeah. What an unnecessarily complicated thing to do. So yeah, I loved that. And then lastly, Worf's send-off in Redemption Part 1. Oh my god, yeah. It was so good. When he exits the turbo lift and everybody's lined up, and it's so nice. And then the bridge crew is in the transporter room, and it's so good and like heartbreaking, and I cried, and it was beautiful, and oh my god. What a way to end the season, honestly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those are my favorite parts.
Yeah, so I have a few. A lot of Jonathan Frakes bits in Future Imperfect. Like, I loved his acting in that episode. I love his reaction when he sees that he has a son and he's talking to Deanna about it. Like how he's just fucking like, this has just changed like his whole world. And I especially love the scene of him and the kid in the turbo lift where he's saying like, because it's after he got hurt playing Parisi Squares, I think. And Dr. C's like, hey, you need to chill out, like you can't be like, you know, because Riker's like pissed off. And then afterwards in the turbo lift, he's like, listen, like my own father was never there for me, and it's like I want to be there for you, and like I don't remember like anything of your childhood, but like I want to make new memories with you. And it's just so fucking beautiful and like fucking touching and shit. That it's great. Yeah, bits like that. In Reunion, basically like whenever Worf and K'Ehleyr talk with each other, like they just have like such a great chemistry.
Yeah.
And like I know you want to block it out, but like the moment like where he finds her and
It is so utterly heartbreaking.
Yeah, he like does like the Klingon scream and stuff. Like, oh, so heartbreaking. I also love in The Wounded. I know, Dory, you did not like it, but when O'Brien and the other guy are like, they're sort of singing that song together, and realizing that's like, the captain's realizing I'm not gonna, like, there's no way out of this. Like, I have to surrender. And
I completely, honestly, I forgot about that episode completely until I read my notes.
Yeah.
Why? It's the warden from Shawshank Redemption.
She's never seen Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, I know. That's the point.
Oh, yeah.
That Dory is an inexperienced plebeian.
The other moment in that same episode where O'Brien's having the conversation with the Cardassian, and he's like, you know, I don't hate you. I hate what I became because of you.
Yes.
I thought that was really good. And obviously, there's a lot of moments in Night Terrors that I really like, because I like all the spooky bits in that episode, especially the part where all the like corpses in the body bags like sit up while Dr. C's like alone. Like, that's just fucking spooky as shit.
There's a moment like that in Voyager, oddly enough, and it is not nearly as effective, considering the entire episode is better at being spooky than... Or sorry, it should technically be better at being spooky than Night Terrors is.
Mm-hmm. And there's some good shit in... there's lots of good moments in Best of Both Worlds Part 2.
You guys already listed many that I could bring up. However, I would be remiss if I did not point out the reveal of the dancing doctor. And the fact that she teaches Data how to tap dance before realizing that tap dancing is not what he wants to learn at all. And it's just, TNG doesn't do things like that very often. And I really enjoy that there is this moment of like character weakness in the, sorry, not character weakness. What's the word I'm looking for? Vulnerability, I guess you would say. It's too bad that it ends up being in a female character, because that's a typically female trait that they do in shows in general. But I wouldn't say that the Dr. Crusher is a particularly ultra feminine female character. She's actually kind of a badass sometimes, and it's great. Like, they don't go with the, well, she's the traditional healer and mother type. No, they don't do that shit with her. She's like a very independent, strong person, and I really enjoy that.
I get what you're saying. I just, for my own sake, I just want to say, femininity and badassery are not mutually exclusive.
I know. I'm talking about like stereotypical femininity and stereotypical masculinity within media as they're identified.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, like they don't go with the she's a female badass. They just go with, no, she's fucking in charge.
Yeah.
And that's good. I like that they don't like feminize those parts of her and have to go to like some weird motherly shit, because like, let's face it, making her the doctor and the only mother out of the main crew was already kind of a decision, but not leaning into that so hard that it takes away from the other positives of her character and how much of a goddamn professional she is.
Well, I think that's just rounding out a character, because she can be feminine and, you know, be a mom, be the doctor, the healer, caretaker, but also can be a badass.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's true.
Because I think a lot of times they make it like it's a weakness to be, or not even a weakness, negative to be feminine.
Yes, you're right.
It's portrayed to be so right. So like that
it's
to me
considered to be a flaw more often than not in television, especially like 80s and 90s television.
And for women to be seen as a badass, typically, it's because they're showing what's deemed as more masculine traits, which is like very telling, because like there's like a lot of like the way the word badass as we know it is like I guess at some point was pretty like focused to like men because
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I'm not gonna go on a whole thing because otherwise we could spend a billion years talking about it. But
So I think back to an example of femininity in Star Trek being used as a negative trait, actually within TNG. If you go back to season 1, the Q episode in season 1, and Tasha Yar gets sent to the quote unquote penalty box on the ship, and she starts crying,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they do that whole weird scene between her and Picard where it's like, when one is in the penalty box, one has permission to cry, and it's like, come on, guys.
Forgot
like,
about that.
Yeah.
well, I'm just thinking of is it with like all the Troy episodes so far have always been so attached to either a romance or a child or her mom, always things that
Yes.
are so associated with like being a woman. And it feels like from like the background that you've told us that like Dr. C got an action hero episode because she advocated for herself. The writers weren't going to give her one
Yeah,
unless
that's
she
true.
asked for it, which
And
like
they wrote
I'm
a
not
damn
saying
good one.
they did. So it's like they're capable. They just choose not to.
Yeah.
So like, and this is no way being like, oh, the actress who played Troy should have advocated for herself. No, because she shouldn't have to like this. Like they
Yeah.
should be giving her roles that are not exclusively related to her gender. So
I don't know if
sucks that,
you
like.
I don't know if you know anything about Marina Sirtis as a
No.
person, but she's
I know nothing
very
about her.
she's very Carrie Fisher, in that she's kind of a like, brash, doesn't give a fuck kind of person off screen, which is very interesting considering the character she's playing.
It's like
Yeah.
it just it does feel like the writers are capable of writing a character that's well-rounded, that has multiple, things. They can be more than one thing. But yeah, it does like suck that the only way to make them considered like badass or like good is if you take away the femininity part,
Yes.
Yeah.
which
Yes.
is like incredibly unfair and sucks because it's not a bad thing. It's just it doesn't make somebody weak for liking stereotypically girly or feminine things.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see a man push out a child
Yeah.
and then get back
they
to
have written some excellent female characters on Star Trek who are not defined by their femininity. Kalar is an excellent example of that.
for sure.
And I mean, the Doctor is also not defined by her femininity, despite how much they clearly designed her character to be that.
Yeah.
And the thing is like, I think a lot of times, media will make the female characters, quote unquote, badass by eliminating aspects of femininity, making them
Yeah.
more
Yes.
masculine. Whereas,
Yep,
like,
absolutely.
I feel like Dr. C does get to be feminine and a badass.
Yeah, I agree with
Well,
that.
You ever notice that in a lot of movies or TV shows where the woman is the like hero and it's more of an action role, they have a man's name?
Yeah.
It's like Sam or Max or whatever. Like it's like telling. Like you couldn't just have Brenda like climb
Yeah.
a fucking like scale a wall or something. Like
There's another TNG example that we'll get to in the future, actually, and we're actually going to talk a little bit about it next season for a separate reason that I'll get into later.
a separate reason.
Yeah. So there's a main character in DS9 named Major Kira, who is not a Starfleet officer. She's of another race that you'll meet, and she is another character that, until you get a bit further into the series, is very much defined by her anti-femininity. Like it's like they took this character and made her as masculine and aggressive as possible. And that's actually what turned me off about her when I was younger. And then I got older and watched the series with a more open eye and realized that she actually ended up being one of my favorite characters on the show.
Yeah.
So that really reversed. But like there are so many instances of that, and it is such a lazy writing choice. And it's not even necessarily like a terrible choice, because you can do really positive things with a character who is almost exclusively masculine and almost exclusively feminine. But it is shitty that so many instances of trying to make a character, a female character specifically, into a more like brash or just what do you call it? Not like.
I think it's mostly that it feels like there's no spectrum. It's either you're super feminine or you're super masculine, and there is no middle ground.
And that's why I really like the Doctor, because she is a middle ground.
She is a middle ground, but you don't get that often in well, I think you get it more now in the characters. I think that's definitely more of a modern thing, but in the 90s, no. You're going to get a tomboy or the well, actually, but in sitcoms, I would still think, like current sitcoms, you still get that. It's either the if it's a family sitcom, the daughter is either a huge airhead and beautiful and popular, and then the other daughter is going to be either a tomboy or the biggest nerd in the world, and and dresses very, very we'll call it plainly. So still a stereotype, unlike
in fairness,
family sitcoms.
In fairness, something to keep in mind about sitcoms is that they almost exclusively derive their comedy from archetypes and stereotypes. Like the point is to take those and make commentary on familiar things.
Yeah, but that's not like interesting anymore. Well,
Yeah.
not that
Oh,
it
I'm
was
not
ever
saying they're doing
interesting.
a good job of
Yeah.
it. I'm
Oh,
just
no,
saying
no,
that
no.
that is the point in the end. But like, if you look to another sitcom, like I have an example of this. Third Rock from the Sun is a great example of them taking a character and blurring the lines with that on purpose, because one of the main characters, Sally, is like this late 20s, early 30s, hot blonde woman. She's like, tall, she's in charge and whatnot, and she's very aware of that throughout the series. But her character, when they first introduce her, because the concept of Third Rock from the Sun is that they're all aliens disguised as humans on Earth, and they're just kind of trying to live as normal people. She was the weapons officer and resents having to be, quote unquote, the woman, because she doesn't feel feminine at all. And the entire series ends up going back and forth between her initial character not feeling feminine, but wanting to embrace these feminine things because they feel good.
Wow, I totally forgot that Joseph Gordon-Levitt was the young kid.
Yes, he was. Holy shit, that was my introduction to him.
Yeah, Sally is played by Kristen Johnston, if you know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like, so there's this whole, it's weird, there's this balance, because like you don't have to give up your femininity to be a badass, but also there is nothing wrong with being a masculine woman.
Yeah.
And I think Major Kira's like, she's definitely like more on the masculine side, but like in that sort of like 80s 90s way.
She's a tomboy.
Yeah, she's a tomboy, but at
her.
the same time she's not like ew dresses.
Yeah, that's true.
And she wears makeup and like that kind of thing. Like,
actually, a couple of times in the earlier bits, I think there's like an episode where Dax has to dress up for something, and she's just like, I don't see why we have to wear these ridiculous outfits.
I think that's like,
and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, but I think, to be fair, if I'm remembering correctly, I think that's for the holodeck, and they're in like medieval garb.
I
So
felt
that's a
like
little
it was
different.
I felt like it was like a dress uniform situation.
Oh, maybe. Honestly, I don't remember. So I'll have to take your word for that.
I mean, I could be wrong too. We'll find out when we get there.
Yeah. It, like, basically, I always viewed Major Kira as sort of like a soft to medium butch.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
But she does embrace more of her feminine side, and like in moderation with her more masculine traits throughout the series. And I mean, DS9 is a series that kind of excels in having extremely well-rounded characters.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to give it too much credit in that regard, in that they managed to take her and do something really good with her. But early on, I don't feel like they really hit any of that very well.
I'd have to rewatch it because it's been a while.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Anyway, we are super off track now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all for my categories.
Okay, that brings us to predictions. So I'm going to read through all the predictions that Dory has made throughout the season and see how accurate she got. And this is also where we get to test if I can read my own writing.
Fair. Good luck.
So, with your prediction for Best of Both Worlds Part 2, basically you just said, like, we gave you a recap of Part 1. So, just to remind people, at the end of Part 1 of Best of Both Worlds, Riker is ordering Worf to fire on the Borg cube that currently has Captain Picard, who is currently a Borg, on it. So you said you think they'll fire, but the Borg will get away. They'll get close to Earth, but they won't make it all the way there. They'll get Picard back at some point, but the Borg will use Picard's knowledge to try to fuck over some ships and stuff.
I mean,
you got pretty right, honestly. You got the bit about them using Picard's knowledge because they used Picard's knowledge of their plan to have like the special phaser thing or whatever to negate it. So they fire on the ship, but nothing happens. They do make it all the way to Earth, though. I think. Do they do any damage on Earth? I don't remember.
I don't think they do.
No,
Yeah.
they don't. There isn't a single shot fired. They end up getting them in like just a nick of time, basically.
Yeah, but they do make it there. So yeah, so you were pretty on the money with that.
Oh.
So the next episode was called Family, and we told you that Picard decides to confront ghosts from his past, and you went, "Ghost mom, ghost mom, ghost mom." So you said Picard would go to the holodeck and like create like a holodeck version of his childhood home, and talk to his mom and like work through his trauma with the Borg. And you also said that you couldn't picture Picard with siblings.
Oof.
So what actually happens is that Picard goes to his childhood home for real. For anyone who doesn't remember, Picard's mother is long dead, which is why it's Ghost Mom. Where he gets into a fight with his brother. And Picard sort of
a literal
just, like,
fist fight with his brother.
Yeah. Picard just sort of like contemplates his future and whether he wants to stick to Starfleet, and like kind of processes the trauma of being Borg. So the next episode after that is called Brothers. We told you that Data receives a mysterious message from a ghost of his past. And then you said there's something wrong with Lore, and Data is the only one that can help. So what actually happens is that Dr. Sung is the one who's in trouble. He's dying, and he brings Data and Lore to him so that he can see them one last time before he dies. And he wants to give Data an emotions chip, but Lore steals it and then kind of fucks off. And Data actually, like, sabotaged, like, Dr. Sung, like, activated his, like, homing beacon, and Data, like, sabotaged the ship and stuff to, like, get them to go to where he was. which was actually a cool part of the episode.
Yeah.
The episode after that was Suddenly Human. We told you that the Enterprise rescues a teenage boy who was raised by non-humans. And then you said, is this a Tarzan situation? And you said that the kid was kidnapped as a boy, and his parents sort of figured out where he was and then asked the Enterprise to go get him. What actually happens is that it is true the boy was sort of kidnapped as a child. In that person's culture, he's allowed to claim the child of an enemy since he lost his son in the war or whatever. So that's why he took the kid. It's not that the parents figured out where he was. His parents are dead. The Enterprise stumbles upon a ship that had an accident or something, and they discover that there's a human boy amongst these aliens, and then they figure out where his family is, and then there's this whole sort of back and forth on whether he should go back to like sort of the only home he knows, or if he should go to his actual family, or his like blood family rather. And they're real all or nothing about it, which was weird.
Yeah.
The episode after that was Remember Me. We told you that Dr. Crusher has to investigate disappearances on the ship. And you said, do I smell a spinoff? You said something happens with the replicator that's making people disappear, and that Wes is one of the people that goes missing, and that everyone else is just too busy, so Dr. Crusher has to do it. So no, it's much more convoluted than that, weirdly. Wes is experimenting with some weird metaphysics bullshit, and Dr. Crusher accidentally gets sucked into an alternate reality where, like, her thoughts of, like, people going missing, like, makes people actually go missing. And Wes does no, he doesn't technically. Wes is one of the people that disappears, but as we find out at the end of the episode, Dr. Crusher is the one that disappeared and is actually, like, sort of stuck in this alternate reality. The episode after that is Legacy, and we told you that the crew runs into Tasha Yar's sister. And you said, no, yes, fuck, everything. So excited, I might cry. You said, we go to a new planet, that she's like a nurse or doctor, and she's like more chill than Yar. That she's like she's a teacher.
Was I wrong?
Yeah. That she's a teacher and everything is nice, and the ship brings them school supplies. So that's a very opposite.
Yeah.
They do go to a new planet. I believe like some random Starfleet people have like crashed on the planet. And this is the planet that Tasha Yar grew up in, which was just a hellscape of a planet. And she is not more chill than Tasha Yar. She is less chill than Tasha Yar. She's a soldier, essentially. And she, like, basically, like, kind of manipulates the Enterprise crew into helping her sabotage, like, her enemy faction. And nothing is nice.
Yeah.
So the episode after that is Reunion. We told you that we get a visit from Worf's past and deal with more Klingon politics. And you said, oh, do we know them? Don't tell me. Tell me, but don't tell me. You said, and you were like so amazingly right on this. You said that the Klingon leader dies and that now there's like sort of a power grab, and Duras tries to, grab power. And then you said this one was a little off. You said the other person who's trying to get power is the person from Worf's past.
Yeah.
Which, so That is basically correct, except that the other person who's trying to get power is not from Worf's past. However, Kalar shows up and reveals that Worf has a son. And
Alexander.
Yeah.
He's so cute.
And unfortunately, in the sort of power struggle, Kalar gets killed. And then, in revenge, Worf kills Duras. And then sends Alexander to live with his parents on Earth. And Gowron takes power.
Oh, you know, I just remembered from that episode, which I think is very funny.
What's that?
So the guy who's like the head of the council, when he goes to Picard to be like, I need help, and they're like, you're being poisoned, and he's like, oh, and he continues to drink the poison wine even though he knows he's being poisoned. I'm like, bro.
It's because it's too late at that point, so he's like, fuck it.
He's like YOLO.
Yeah.
He's like, listen, the wine's good. I don't care, it's poison at this point.
So the episode after that is Future Imperfect. And we told you that Riker wakes up a decade into the future and he doesn't remember anything that's happened. And you said, wow, is Riker me? Your prediction was that Riker drinks some drug tea and it's all a dream.
I mean, was it a dream? Yeah, kinda.
It was all a dream, pretty much. What happened is Riker somehow got kidnapped by this little kid alien who, like, put him in this, like, sort of basically holodeck program to trick him into being his dad.
Oh, God. Oh. It's a wild way to describe it.
Yeah.
It's not wrong, but it's like wild way.
It's a wild episode, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
The episode after that is Final Mission. And we told you that this is Wes's final mission before he goes off to the academy. And that Picard is taking Wes on to observe some negotiations. And then you said, are they going to share a sandwich again? And then you said that I would say exactly that. You delivered my my prediction recap. You read out how I do the prediction recap. So what you said was that Picard will take him on like sort of this easy mission before he goes, and then Wes fucks it up, but Picard encourages him, and Wes saves the day. So that is kind of what happens, except Wes is not at fault for what happened. It's just basically, I think, the guy that was transporting them to the surface, his ship, like, conked out, basically. And they were kind of, like, stuck in the desert.
Yeah.
And then, Picard ends up, like, hurt, and Wes has to, like, figure shit out on his own, because the other guy, like, gets himself killed. Yeah. And Wes is, like, a little uncharacteristically bratty in that episode, in my opinion.
Oh my God. I just remembered. This is when, like, oh my God, when Picard is, like, injured and lying on the floor and Wes is beside him and he's like, listen, nobody really knows this, but I really want to impress you. I'm like, bitch, everyone knows this.
Yeah.
I know this. Like, you've literally, like, and then Picard's like, Wesley, I've always been proud of you. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
That is not true.
They try to make this whole, like, Picard West thing happen, but
they've like retconned their whole relationship, but we also watched the show.
Yeah.
So we know what happened.
Oh, all right. So the episode after that is The Loss, and that's Deanna inexplicably loses her powers. If you said, if she loses another loved one, I'm gonna have a loss. You said that it was going to be a day in the life episode, and that Picard will need her to, like, vibe a person, but she just, like, won't be able to do it, and it'll be, like, you know, it'll be, like, really critical, but she won't be able to do it. And that she has to provide therapy to someone, but she, like, won't be able to use her powers. And you said that she lost her powers as an allergic reaction to some food she ate.
That's the wildest part of that prediction.
Yeah.
It's allergic. Because the rest of it is not that...
Yeah, it's basically what happens, kind of.
Yeah.
So, what really happened is fucking weird. Like, the allergic reaction to some food would make a lot more sense. They run into two-dimensional creatures that just overwhelmed her senses, I guess. Yeah. That's the episode. It sucked.
Yeah.
The episode after that is called Data's Day. And we told you that Data is writing a letter to Bruce Maddox detailing a day in his life during a crewmate's wedding. And you just went, a wedding, oh cute. And then you said, is it O'Brien getting married?
Womp womp.
You said that, because we asked you, like, what sort of, like, drama do you think Data would accidentally drum up at a wedding? You said that he would accidentally share divorce stats, or share, like, a secret one of the people was hiding. And you said that Data would be the decorator and misinterpret the theme. You were right in that O'Brien was getting married. Basically what happens is that O'Brien and Keiko, who's his wife, just don't know how to communicate. And Keiko tells Data to call off the wedding for her, and he does, but he just, like, keeps getting confusing mixed messages from everyone that he's like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. And then Keiko and O'Brien work it out off screen, and then they have a wedding. The episode's not great in my opinion. I don't like it.
The best part is the mall.
Yeah, that's right. The episode
The shopping.
Yeah, the episode after that's like a serious one. The episode is called The Wounded, and we told you that it's an O'Brien episode, and you just went, no. We told you that the ship needs to track down a rogue Federation ship, and that O'Brien knows the captain. You said maybe the captain had saved O'Brien's life at some point, and that the captain's being sketchy, and that they need O'Brien to get them to help. That he wanted O'Brien to help with his plan, whatever sketchy plan that was. And one of your predictions was that, like, and O'Brien betrays them. So what actually happens is, I don't know if he saved O'Brien's life, but they were close. He was his former captain, and he actually didn't even know that O'Brien was on the ship when the Enterprise was chasing him. He had, like, this whole sketchy plan to attack the Cardassians and, like, reveal... Murder. Yeah, murder Cardassians, and he wanted to reveal that they were still, like, up to something and stuff, and the Enterprise catches up with him, and O'Brien is sent over to try to convince him to surrender, which eventually he does. And then it deals a lot with O'Brien's sort of war trauma from the Federation Cardassian War. The episode after that is Devil's Due.
Oh my god.
And we told you that Picard has to go to court in order to keep a devil woman from stealing the Enterprise. You said that it would be like traffic court. that the Enterprise would get into an accident with this woman and that she wants compensation. And she wants to, like, sue to get the Enterprise. Or you said that she would trick Picard into a contract that gives her the Enterprise. What happens is, like, kind of that second bit. Basically, they go to a planet, and this woman pretends to be this planet's devil who had made a contract, like, 1,000 years ago that they were going to get peace in exchange for, like, becoming her slaves or whatever, and she tries to rope in getting Picard and the Enterprise into this deal because they're in orbit, and she says that, like, the contract includes, like, everything on the planet plus whatever's in orbit of the planet. And she sexually harasses Picard a lot. Mm-hmm. And this is one of those episodes that was, like, worse than I remember it. Because I remember liking this episode, but, like, seeing it with fresh eyes is like, ew. I really don't like this woman's behavior. The episode after that is called Clues. And I tried very hard not to use the word clue in the tidbit, which we failed at. I said that there's many little things on the ships that aren't adding up, and Picard has to solve a mystery. And you said, ooh, scavenger hunt? You said,
I like how so many of my predictions start with ooh.
I mean, yeah, they kind of do. You said there's clues and that no one remembers what happens. So you're like, it's The Hangover. The episode is The Hangover. They got really drunk, lost something, and now they have to remember where to find it.
I wish it was that.
Yeah. So what happens is that they find a bunch of clues and stuff about how they're missing like a few days of time. They can't remember, and Data's acting really sketchy, and then it turns out that they had run into some aliens that are super xenophobic, and Data's like, hey, just, like, knock them out and we'll pretend we went through a wormhole and stuff. But it didn't quite work because there was too many, like, things.
They did a bad job of covering it up.
Yeah, they did a bad job of covering it up. So then they do it again and get it right this time. After that, the episode is called First Contact, and we told you that Riker goes missing on a planet that doesn't know that aliens exist. You said that Riker had gone down to see if they'll be, like, cool with aliens and stuff, because the planet has, like, some resource they want or something, and that the people down on the planet think he's, like, a spy or something and capture him.
I mean...
It is pretty close to what happens. What actually happened was that Riker did just that. He went down to the planet. He wasn't the one investigating whether they'd be cool with aliens. He went down there to sort of...
For no reason.
No.
For no
yes. There
was no reason why Riker personally should have been there.
Yeah. The reason the episode gives is that he was going down there to rendezvous with the people who had been down there long term. And he wasn't captured per se. He had gotten injured and ended up in the hospital. And then sort of the doctors and stuff figured out that he wasn't exactly their species. And the Enterprise has to sort of come and intervene, and Picard reveals themselves to the leaders and stuff. And eventually they find Riker and are able to get him back. And they basically fuck off and leave the planet none the wiser. The episode after that is called Galaxy's Child, and we told you that Geordi gets recognized for his excellent work aboard the Enterprise, and that they're sending someone over to sort of check it out. And it turns out that person is Dr. Leah Brahms, who was his holodeck crush earlier in the series. So to your horror, this is where you learnt that the hologram that Geordi had fallen in love with was a real alive person.
Yeah.
A person who is currently alive and the same like age as the hologram. Like it wasn't from the past.
Yo.
So you're like, oh god, that's creepy. You said that you hope the episode isn't cringy.
I was wrong.
Yeah. You said they need to work together on something. And, they figure it out as friends. And there is no cringe and everyone's fine.
Like 50-50 correct.
Yeah. They do end up having to work together to sort of solve a problem. Leia, she sort of comes on the ship to like check out the modifications that Geordi has made to the engine and stuff, and she's really pissy about it because she's like, how could you do this to like my precious baby? Because she designed the engine. And Geordi's real cringe, like trying to hit on her and stuff. And, she reveals that she's married. Then she discovers the hologram that Geordi had fallen in love with, and the episode makes it seem like she's in the wrong, and it's very upsetting.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I was just trying to be friends with you. And it's like, dude, no. Like, you were being very creepy. And what you did with the hologram was, like, not cool. The episode after that is called Night Terrors. And we told you that the ship gets stuck in remote space and that the crew cannot dream. You said that this was going to be a sleep deprivation situation.
I mean...
Yeah. That they rescue a ship, but that they got exposed to like a dangerous spore, and that now they can't dream and the crew kind of goes crazy. So, sort of what caused the dreamlessness you got wrong, but you basically got it right in that, like, the ship... Everyone on the ship kind of goes a little crazy because they can't dream, so sort of people have, like, waking nightmares and stuff like that. What had caused it was that they were caught in some sort of space anomaly along with another ship of a different species who was trying to communicate to them, but it ended up that their communication was on the same frequency, on the same wavelengths as human dreams. So they sort of inadvertently were causing this issue with the Enterprise. But they end up figuring out what they need to do, and they all escape. After that, the episode is Identity Crisis. You said that Geordi's friend is worried... Sorry, we said that Geordi's friend is worried about some former crewmates of theirs, and that they both start suffering worrisome ailments. You said that we'll go to a new planet, because we haven't done that in a while, and that Geordi and his friend will get separated from the group who's, like, searching, and that the further away they get from their group, the less they remember about themselves. Which is not what happened, but I think that is a cool concept.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Yeah. What happens is that, like, some of their crewmates go missing, because it turns out that, like, a planet they'd visited a while back, the way they reproduce is by taking over another species' body. It's like a parasite that, like, transforms you into one of their species. And everyone sort of had this, like, compulsion to get back to that planet, and that's what happened to the missing crew members, and that's what sort of the illness that Geordi and Leighton were suffering from.
Suze.
Yeah, and they end up figuring out, like, how to reverse it for at least Geordi and Leighton. The other people are, like, too far gone. After that is the nth degree. at first, like, you weren't sure what that meant, and we explained to you that, like, n is, like, sort of an unknown number in algebra, and you said, I better not have to fucking do math. We told you that Barkley gets a sudden, unexplained burst of confidence. You said, Reg will be cringe. That, we asked, I sort of, like, in clarification said, like, what do you think, like, caused this, like, sudden burst of confidence? And you said, like, does he actually show up on time for stuff now? You said that, he, like, sort of gets back from, like, a vacation where he'd met a woman, and he lied to her about, like, who he was and stuff, and that it just blows up in his face. And you said, I'm sorry, Reg, I just think the worst of you. After that is the episode Cupid. And after I said the title, you gave a great gasp. And I told you that Q decides to interfere in the love life of Picard. And you were just like, incredible. You had a couple predictions because you weren't sure which way to go with this one. Because you were like, you had these ideas, but you're like, there's no way like Q was helping him. So one of your ideas is that Picard has met someone, but they're a Q, and Q comes and tries to warn Picard about it. And then you're like, Q wouldn't help. So you're like, Q tries setting Picard up with someone, but not to help him, to fuck with him, because he thinks it'll be funny, because they're so incompatible. So what actually happens is Vosh shows up, and Q kidnaps them into Robin Hood land.
I was just like a little bit off.
Yeah, a little bit off. I mean, to be fair, I gave you nothing indicating that they'd fucking be doing Robin Hood LARPing. So yeah, basically they just have to like rescue Vosh from Nottingham Castle, and they just fuck around, basically.
It's incredible.
Yeah. The episode after that is just a huge tone swing. The episode after that is The Drumhead. We told you that they discover there's a saboteur on board and that they need to figure out who it is. And your immediate response was, is it O'Brien? You said maybe they're like giving a ride to some Starfleet people and they notice that like some information is, you know, some classified information has been leaked, and that it turns out that these people are working for the enemy. So actual episode in like that sort of happens. They have like a Klingon exchange guy on there, and he ends up like, they find out that he was smuggling info to the Romulans, and there was like an explosion in the warp core, and they're trying to figure out like how they did that. And the episode is more about them sort of devolving into paranoia, trying to figure out the saboteur. So they bring on this old admiral out of retirement to sort of help figure it out, and she kind of goes on a crusade of like persecuting people. This one guy specifically because he like, one of his relatives, his like grandfather's Romulan. And it turned out that the explosion wasn't sabotage. It was just like a mechanical failure that was really hard to detect. So you weren't wrong, but there was a lot more to the episode. The episode after that is Half a Life. I told you that it's the return of Troy's mom, and that she comes on board at the same time as this scientist guy, and they have a fling together. But he comes from a culture with an age limit, meaning that they sort of ritualistically end their lives at a specific point in time. You were sort of not sure how this would go. You were not sure how Loaxana would sort of react to this, but you settled on that she would just say YOLO and decide that, like, they'd go crazy with the time that they have. So what actually happens in the episode is kind of weird. The first half is like a comedy of her flirting with this guy and having a thing together, and this guy's on the ship to, like, do some science that's supposed to help his planet. And then the second half, the sort of reveal of, like, the age limit comes about, and Luoxana is very upset by it, and she tries to convince him not to do it and go against their tradition and all that stuff. And it ends up sort of becoming a big sort of international incident, because they take this, like, very seriously in their culture. The guy ends up going through with it because he's like, I'm not the one that's going to lead the revolution on this. So I'm going to go through with this because, you know, I don't see this necessarily as a negative. And Luoxana ends up sort of capitulating a little bit, and she goes to his, like, ceremony and whatever at the end. It's very sad. The episode after that is called The Host. And we told you that Dr. Crusher falls for someone who is not what they seem. And you just immediately went, oh, it's someone in someone else's body. Dr. C gets catfished. And I called it was the fastest prediction we've ever had. And yeah, that's basically what happens, is that a guy comes on board who's a member of a species named the Trill, who are a symbiotic species. So, well, yeah, they are and they aren't. The way they're set up in this episode is different than how they do it in the future. Basically, her and him have this, like, thing together. They're, like, he's in town to, like, negotiate some shit between two planets that are fighting. Actually, two moons that are fighting. And he gets killed in an accident, but it turns out there's, like, a big slug alien thing that lives in his body that, like, is the true, like, being, personality. And the body was just a host body, and the slug ends up going into Riker's body, and then some very awkward shit happens where Dr. Crusher and Riker's body have a thing together without Riker's consent. And it's very awkward. And at the end, the slug finally gets put into another Trill host. Because Riker had to do it because they couldn't get another host in time before the symbiote died. So at the end, it gets put into a woman, and she's like, I can't deal with this. And yeah, that's how the episode ends. And it's, I think, like, some of the most angry Dory and I have gotten about an episode. All right. The episode after that is The Mind's Eye. We told you that Geordi ends up under the influence of nefarious aliens. And your prediction was that the Ferengi were going to brainwash Geordi in order to sabotage the Enterprise. So what actually happens is that the Romulans brainwash Geordi in order to assassinate a Klingon governor, to sort of start a war between the Federation and the Klingons, as sort of a sketchy plot. The episode after that, which is the penultimate episode of the season, is called In Theory. And we told you that someone has a crush on Data and asks him out. You said this could be anything because Data can get it. You said that you just want Data to be happy, and I remind you that he doesn't feel happy. And you just said, I want him to feel content. I want him to be fine. I asked you if the episode was going to be horny or wholesome, and you said that it's more likely to be horny, but that you're going to go with wholesome. You said that they'd go down to a new planet, and that Data would save a woman from a car accident, and that she'd fall in love with him, and they'd date, and it would go poorly, because he doesn't understand nuance.
I forgot about the car accident theory.
Yeah. To your credit, you said, like, it wouldn't be a car per se, but that was your example.
Oh.
I just thought it was funny, though. What actually happens is that it's sort of a crewmate we've never seen before. Sort of is talking to Data about the guy that she just recently broke up with, and she's like, Data,
Named Jeff.
yeah. And
Yep.
like Data's just being such a good friend that she like kind of falls for him and like wants to start dating him. And yeah, Data gives dating a shot, and it doesn't go well because the episode treats both of them badly. And yeah, and those two are just not compatible with each other. Data is not familiar with the nuances of, you know, human romantic relationships, obviously, and I think her name was Jenna. Was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jenna is just not direct and communicative enough to be with Data. Yeah, it's one of the most annoyed I've ever gotten that wasn't about something like serious. Mm-hmm. In an episode, because I just thought they really did not treat Data well in this. It's just like, oh, Data doesn't get it, therefore it can never work out for him. Mm-hmm. So, the last episode, Redemption, Part 1. I told you that it was a Worf-centered episode, and that it would heavily revolve around Klingon politics and a potential civil war. You said, vindication for Worf! Worf gets his groove back. And you were, like, pretty spot on with this. You said, like,
Right?
there's some evidence of corruption that would come out that redeems Worf, but, like, Duras still has support, and that the Duras family still has support, and that they would fight for power, and that maybe Worf's brother would show up, too. And then you just sort of yelled, validate Worf! So yeah, that's kind of pretty much what happens, is that during Gowron's installation, it turns out that Duras's sisters found that he had a son, and he challenges Duras for the leadership. You know, turns out that Duras family has Romulan backing, who's like helping them. And it's sort of Worf and Picard kind of get caught in the middle. Worf is trying to prove that like his father didn't betray his people and all that, and he ends up like kind of getting involved. Picard was sort of the arbiter in this whole process, so he has to like kind of finish the job. So he installs Gowron as the leader, and then people who are loyal to Duras family sort of attack, and the Klingon Empire goes into civil war. And at the end, we've been seeing this shadowy Romulan figure, and they step into the light at the end, and it is Denise Crosby, the woman who played Tasha Yar. And
with a fucking terrible haircut.
Yeah, and she is... and her hair is blonde, and in the Romulan haircut, the Romulan standard issue haircut. So that's something we will find out next time on Star Trek: The Next Generation. So that's the end of the predictions that Dory made this season, which you did pretty well this season.
Yeah.
You did pretty good.
Yeah. Good for me.
Yeah. You're getting
I'm really
a handle
proving my my rookie Trekkie status.
Yeah. Although I did notice that a lot of because I sort of paraphrase these predictions, I don't always put every single thing you've said. A lot of your predictions involve, and I've noticed this over the seasons, the Enterprise needing a piece for their ship. They need some sort of piece for their ship, and they run into trouble with it. Except it's never that. It's never ever that.
The one time I don't predict it, then that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. All right. I think that we went over sort of your wants for the next season.
Yes.
But is there any sort of closing thoughts that you have before we sort of sign off?
No. Not that I can think of.
Yeah.
Yeah, season 4 was fun. I hope season 5 is just as much fun, if not more fun.
Mm-hmm. So, we sort of went over what you wanted for the next season. Is there anything that you think will happen next season? Not necessarily something that you want.
Ugh, more suffering for Troy. That's what I'm assuming is going to happen. I'm going to guess that there's okay. I feel like there'll be like another love interest for Picard or Riker.
Mm-hmm.
That only lasts one episode. I'm trying to be realistic. I'm not saying like what I want. I'm trying to think of like what we actually could see.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably likely that Geordi will get a crush on a woman and it will go poorly. But I'd like something nice for tap into Geordi. Give Geordi something nice. I think there'll be more Klingon politics. Oh, I think the Romulans will, because like there's no, okay, I was about to say there's no way they introduced the Romulans like this. They've been doing it all season, and they whatever's happening there with Denise Crosby, they showed up and then like they're like, nope, we're done with the Romulans for the show. So like I would think that like they didn't build it all up for I would think we'd get more into Romulan shit. I say that full well knowing there's a very good chance I am 100% wrong, and Romulans are not like as like it's leading up to just the first episode of the season, and then they kind of go in the background for the rest of the time. I think there probably be more like emotion stuff with Data, or like chances for him to experience however close he can get to feeling something, I think. Mm-hmm. I think that Picard will take an unnecessary risk, which will make Riker upset. Because I always think back to the first episode when Riker's like, I would never let my captain go down. Then Picard's like, good. And Riker's like, to be fair, that's not Riker's fault.
Yeah.
Like, what's he gonna do? Like, throw Picard over his shoulder and, like, put him in his ready room and lock him there? Like,
I mean, I'd love it if he did that, but probably not. Yeah. Not with Jonathan Frakes' back problems.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. Those are my, we'll call it long-term predictions of the season, or just general season predictions.
Alrighty.
Not necessarily what I want, but what I think probably may happen.
All right.
What I want is a beach day. I want everybody to go to Ryza together.
Beach day.
Given that Ryza is a sex planet, I don't know that that's particularly likely.
Again.
I mean, this show,
yes.
It's very likely, but also very likely that will go very wrong.
Yeah, this is one of the horniest shows I've ever seen. Like, the fact that
that's impressive.
Like, well, in terms of like what you were like a show that you were not expecting it to be as horny as it is. Because some shows you just expect to be horny. This was not one of them. I did not anticipate how horny this show is. So I wouldn't put it past them to do no, they won't, because I'd love for something fun to happen. Whenever they think something fun's gonna happen, it's like, hey, how about some trauma instead?
That's fair. All right. Well, that's been our season 4 retrospective. So join us next time where we will start season 5 and Dory officially gets to use her new title of Rookie Trekkie.
I'm getting business cards.
Yeah. So join us for the next episode of Fully Functional, a TNG podcast.
Goodbye.